All right, welcome to the M Cave Ultra Show, the show that focuses on all things Kenny Veach related. And if you're awake, you can realize that the Kenny Veach story is nothing but a government psyop operation, no different than the psyop that happened back in 1947 in Roswell, New Mexico, which is now infamously associated with Area 51. And here, fast forward to the future, 67 years later, after the Roswell incident, you get the supposed disappearance of Kenny Veach while in search of the infamous M cave, the cave with the M shaped entrance that supposedly, spooked whoever this character Kenny Veach is. But I'm going to get all into that. But let's get the shout outs out of the way first. But shout out to my new homie and the other homies at the Truth Click. Here's the Discord. If, it's a new Discord, so he's trying to build the following. But shout out to Marvin. We've been having some great conversations. And yeah, let's get into the bulk of the presentation. But I want to start off with three quotes. And I chose specifically to pick out three quotes because that's the first digit of pi, which this presentation is going to largely center around. The infinite number pi, proof that infinity actually does exist. We have proof here in the physical realm. But, Confucius said it right when he said signs and symbols rule the world, not words nor laws. And that's 100% how the world works. And if you don't know that, that's because you're asleep. But my job and, Marvin's job, the homie from the Truth Click, lifelong truther, he's trying to wake people up. And, Manly P. Hall, the person who popularized this work, the study of gematria, Zachary K. Hubbard, he found out about gematria because Manly P. Hall talks about it in his book, The Secret Teachings of All Ages. And I talk a lot about the number 47 on this channel. And, like I mentioned, Roswell happened in 1947. Kenny Veach disappeared at the age of 47. The Black Dahlia murder happened in 1947. You see it a lot around these events that become cultural phenomenons. And the Black Dahlia to this very day is very much a very popular topic, as is the explosion of the Kenny Veach phenomenon. But the man right here, he said, symbolism is the language of the mysteries. By symbols, men have ever sought to communicate to each other those thoughts which transcend the limitations of language. And, it's occultic, it's hidden. And the way to communicate that is through symbols. But, I saw this one and it really resonated with me, and I hope it's from St. Augustine. I'd have to verify it. But, regardless, this statement rung very true with me. And it says, Symbols are powerful because they are visible signs of the invisible reality. Like I just mentioned, the occult, which simply means hidden. And this is exactly how the world works. And the Kenny Veach story is a very fitting example of that. And I'm going to talk about mind control and how groups of people use magic as to control your mind. And I would argue that the practice of encoding numbers into words and using that in a very ritualistic fashion is a form of magic. And, just do a little research on Kenny Veach. You'll see what a phenomenon it is and how obsessed people have become. But, you'll see the pie symbolism in it, but all it does is people go around and around in circles and they get nowhere. For example, everyone was, on the trail of the M cave trying to find it, and everyone said, he disappeared because of the M cave. Well, guess what? The latest breaking news in the Kenny Veach story is he's alive now. Can you believe that? So the latest thing in the Kenny Veach sleuth community is the fact that, he's actually alive, turns out the whole time. Forget about the M cave. What was the whole thing about the M cave? But in this channel, I mainly talk about gematria, but I talk a lot about Saturn, the evil deity, the most important deity to the occult. I would argue the source of where evil comes from is Saturn, the symbol of death and darkness. But think about the ring of Saturn, which is nothing but a circle. And think about pi. Pi is encoded into every circle, no matter what size. But in the blog, I linked a thread on Saturn. Talks a lot about the black cube of Saturn. So I talk a lot about that. But definitely go and check it out if you're not 100% familiar with Saturn symbolism or Saturn worship. This is just a good simple little thread breakdown. But enough on that. I had to call this story M Cave Ultra because it just hit me one day that I was thinking about, how it had, because I was kind of dumbstruck by how, I really wasn't aware of how popular the Kenny Veach story was until recently, until I really started to dig, started to decode the story. And it just seemed like very mind control-ish after I decoded it and, figured out that it happened on the day leaving 51 days in the year. And then November 10th is the 314th day of the year, which are the first 3 digits of pi, 3.14. So, how fitting for people to be going around in circles on this case and to be getting nowhere. You see how the symbolism works. But M cave, I don't know, I just kept going over in my mind and I was like, holy shit, that sounds a lot like MK Ultra, the big mind control operation that the government did, in secret, in which they still carry out to this day. But I just thought, what are the odds that, it's so similar, M cave. And keep in mind, I'm just going to say it, M cave doesn't exist. There's tons of videos. People are probably dedicating their whole life trying to find it. You're not going to find it. And, for all those who think Area 51 is responsible for Kenny Veach's death, don't you think the government would be trying to keep a tighter wraps on it, considering there's probably like about 100 people in search of M cave right now out in the desert making videos? But it gets views, That's another big reason. A lot of channels I checked out that just post video after video after video after video on Kenny Veach for like months and months. I mean, they probably do it for the views because it's such a popular topic. But November 10th, the day they say that he disappeared, was the 314th day of the year. But it was the day that left 51 days in the year. And think about Area 51, which happened in 1947 and was kind of like, I guess you could say, the beginning of the conspiracy theorist movement. And that's no coincidence, because conspiracy in the cipher with the rules of numerology. And if you're new to this work and you're stumbling upon this channel and you're researching Kenny Veach and you've stuck with me for this long, I'm talking about what's known as gematria. It's the practice of coding numbers into words. And there's 4 base ciphers. And this cipher right here, it's based on the 4 base ciphers. They're all based on the English alphabet, which consists of 26 letters. In this cipher, A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, but you apply the rules of numerology. So S becomes, K the 11th becomes 2, so 1 plus 1 is 2. And then S, the 19th, 1 plus 9 is 10. Then you reduce it, you can't reduce it any further down because, the 0. So 1 plus 0 is 1. So numerology. And if you're familiar with numerology, which most people are, you know that the core of numerology is reducing everything down to a single digit. And then there being, spiritual significance behind that. But so conspiracy has this value of 51, just like he disappeared on the day, leaving 51 days in the year. But I want you to think about pi and think about how it's no coincidence that the dessert that's shaped like a circle is called pi. And I want you to look at the value of pi, which it's normally, like in Greek, it's not spelled with the E, so it's just pi is the way you would spell the equation. But I mean, what are the odds that they named the circle dessert after pi? I mean, that's no coincidence. But, and it's no coincidence that pi is 51 in English gematria with it flipped in reverse. And the law of reversal is very important. It's a big ethos of Satanism, and Satanism and Saturnianism are practically one and the same, because all evil is derived from one source, and that is Saturn. But I want you to check out how, from the 67th anniversary of the Roswell incident to his disappearance November 10th, 2014, and think about the 14, how he disappeared in the year 14. That's the first 3 digits. So after the decimal point, after 3 is 1 and 4. So it's like the second and third digit of pi. 14. I mean, that's just one more pie riddle in this whole story, and there's a whole bunch of them. But a number I talk a lot about on this channel is 125, which is very important to Saturn worship in Saturnian death cults, or Saturn death cult, whatever you want to call it. And I want you to think about the 27 club. And 125 is special because when you write out 27, it equals 125. And think about all the mysterious, suspicious circumstances surrounding so many 27-year-olds to perish at a very early age. But, I've been documenting this number a lot on this channel. And the reason why it's so important to the 27 club is because Saturnian sacrifice equals 125. And if you haven't already, go and check out my Mozart video. He died on 12/5 by this number. He's born on the 27th day of the year. He died at the age of 35, but he died by this code. So, but just look, when you write out unidentified flying saucer, it equals 125. And when you write out 51, when you write out Area 51 as a word, the number, it also equals 125. So you got to ask yourself, what are the odds? You got to ask yourself, what are the odds of this, okay? 47, two very big events came out. Probably more than that, but two big events that really sparked a lot of conspiracy theorists is one, the Black Dahlia murder, and this one, the Roswell incident, which happened in 1947. And look, you see it happened on the 33rd degree parallel north. And I'll get into all the 33s behind the Kenny Veach story. And in case you weren't aware, there is let me find it. There it is. Oh, the magical order, which is known as the Brotherhood of Saturn, their highest degree is the 33rd degree. And that's usually the highest degree in a lot of, Masonic magical orders. But I'll get more on the Brotherhood of Saturn later. So yeah, here is Kenny Veach. Good old Kenny Veach disappeared at the age of 47. And there's a lot of snake symbolism in Kenny Veach's story. He was kind of like a snake guy. And his YouTube username was Snakebit McGee. And a very important number to Saturn worship is the number 69. And I believe that's so because it represents the Aurora Boreas, which, look, it's a circle. And the Aurora Boreas basically represents infinity. Birth, death, and rebirth. But this endless cycle. And it's been depicted in many different cultures all throughout antiquity. And I'll get into its modern day depiction now. But so 69, does it not look like a head of a snake eating its own tail? And what's so special about the number 69 is the fact that, no matter which way you turn it, it's always the same number. And, remember the law of reversal, very important to Satanism. And I think that is because, a big part of Saturn worship goes, I don't know if anyone's ever heard of the demiurge, but, a big part of Saturn worship is the fact that the demiurge basically sentenced our souls to the world of light, thus making us trapped. We're trapped in a world of duality, and there could be a way out of that, but in a different realm. And, the escape from duality could be through this Saturn worship. There's a big mystery surrounding this whole thing, but, just think about it. Just think about what that number symbolizes. But so 69, very special number to Saturn worship, because Saturn has that value of 69. And MK Ultra is also known as Project Monarch. Think about the M. Project Monarch, the CIA controlled mind control operation. Project Monarch 69. But look at his full name and then his YouTube username. Perfect match. Uncoincidentally, because this whole thing was a planned out number ritual. And people can't see that because it's magic and it puts a spell on you. But Kenny alone, his, the shortened version of Kenneth, his nickname, 6'9". 6'9's all over this show. But missing person and missing hiker, uncoincidentally, both matching value. And, this is once again, of no coincidence, because the most, one of the most important symbols beside the circle or ring, whatever you want to call it, think about the rings of Saturn, the circles of Saturn. Other than that, the black cube, which is supposed to represent the physical realm, which we're trapped in. And another mystery behind the case is that no one seems to even really give a shit about is the fact that what's Kenny Veach's birthday, you guys? Anyone who's an avid Kenny Veach researcher want to let me know? But it just makes me shake my head, because it's like, who has brought that? Am I the only one who's brought that topic up? Because if that's so, that's really sad. You guys should be ashamed. But what is Kenny Veach's birthday? Is there even, is Kenny Veach dead? Is he alive? Well, now he's alive. So much for MK. But, now people say that he's alive because of some supposed burglary, and, he was caught on camera, and now the family members are saying, oh, yeah, that's Kenny. Oh, man, if you don't know the code of letters and numbers, you can't see through the Matrix. But, the Matrix was nothing but a documentary. As are most Hollywood movies, people just don't know it. But I want you to see, you see how Wikitubia says he started his YouTube on February 10th, 2002. But when you actually go to his YouTube, it says the 9th. But most people reference that date as the date. You see, isn't that funny how you could, it's posted on there, but you could find the day he joined YouTube, but you can't find his birthday. That tells you a lot right there. But from the day that they say he started his YouTube channel to the date that he disappeared was 33 months. and I'm going to get into why that's so special. But look at the 1004 days, just like he disappeared in 2014, and 1 and 4 are the second and third, are the first two digits after the decimal point in pi. 3.14. But, like I said, this is nothing but a mind control operation. And mind control has that value, like we all know. Shout out to Marvin. We were talking about this last night. But mind control equals 137. Perfect place for him to disappear in the Mojave Desert. In Mojave alone has value of 33, just like he disappeared 33 months from the start of his YouTube channel. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention this earlier, but his YouTube subscriber count has been stuck at 47. 47 and a half subscribers. Emphasis on the 47. One has to ask themselves, what are the odds? What are the odds, man? But look, so they say they found his cell phone on November 22nd. And, do you recognize that date? I'm not saying there's any connection between this, except maybe, the Kennedy assassination was just a big psyop, as are most things. One big psychological operation. And who even knows if Kennedy died? Who's to really say? But November 22nd, the day that they say they found his cell phone, has numerology of 47, 11 plus 22 plus 14. So, and that really left him with no leads. And they say he was found near a mine shaft. And it's like, I thought Kenny disappeared looking for the M cave. Why would he be messing around in a mine shaft? My point is that the story's bullshit. But it all comes down to this right here. Saturnian cult equals 47. And one more 47, the Black Dahlia, who's born on the 211th day of the year, the 47th prime number. To add another 47. 47 must have some kind of special mind control effect, because it's used a lot. Hold on. Her birthday, born in 24. You see? The Black Dahlia, which is probably more popular than the Kenny Veach. It's getting close. Kenny Veach is getting pretty popular, but the Black Dahlia has been around for a lot longer. Her birthday, the 211th day of the year. And I'll get into why that's so special to Saturn, the cult of Saturn. But, Saturnian cult, 47, Mojave Desert, 47. And Saturn is known as the timekeeper, Father Time, the God of time. But, another reason why 47 is so important to Saturn worship is because time has value of 47, fitting in perfectly for the event of this hoax. And another kind of big aspect of the story is the fact that his supposed girlfriend, Sharon Pilgrim, and I'm going to get into the definition of pilgrim in a little bit, but she says that he committed suicide. That's her explanation. And I'm going to show you a clip from Susan Pilgrim in a little bit as well. But, you know, I don't think it's any coincidence why they go that in that direction with the story is because suicide equals 47. But get this, the only other person to warn Kenny about, somehow this guy knows that M Cave is dangerous. And his name just so happens to be Lemmy Kilmister, which, if you're awake, that's code for let me kill Mister. But, isn't it funny how now they're saying he's alive? And then what good were these, this is just a random, whoever's behind this ritual just created this to count. These people, it's a magic ritual. You have to understand that they really lived the part. In order for if you don't believe me, just go and research Aleister Crowley. But I mean, look at his profile picture. Kenny's, it's a fucking snake, and the whole snake symbolism. But these people really set the ground for these mind control operations. And they really play the part, and they set the context. Of course they, stuff like this just makes it even more ominous, right? But I'll show you why that's no coincidence, because Kilmister has value of 47. Just like Saturnian cult, just like Mojave Desert, just like time, just like Nevada, just like suicide, just like he disappeared at the age of 47, just like how the supposed UFOs incident happened in 47. But look at Let Me Kill Mr. Altogether, 211, the 47th prime number. And Lemmy alone is 69. And you see all the 47s. Now I'm kind of feeling like it's getting a little redundant, but this is all no coincidence, because Saturnian death cult equals 211. In the Saturnian Bible, which is known as the Saturnian Grimoire, well, the full name is called the Cult of the Black Cube, a Saturnian Grimoire. But Saturnian Grimoire alone has matching value with death cult, Saturnian death cult. Just like the Brotherhood of Saturn, 113. And, I talked a lot about this phony and the number 48, but a discovery that I made, I documented a lot of 48s, but just look at the value of MK Ultra, 48. And, now there is no doubt in my mind that I'm definitely on to something with the M Cave Ultra. But on her channel, she's got this video of Kenny, and she references the date April 8th, 2011. And I had already was like suspicious of the number 48, because I was like, oh, it was where is it? Oh yeah, Snake Bit McGee was 48, Aurora Boreas 48, Pilgrim. I was like, okay, what are the odds of that they all have value of 48 in the most pure cipher? And then, now I have this, now I've documented all these other 48s, MK Ultra 48. But, why would she, what good is letting people know the date of when she made the video? other than to encode that number. And you know what I found funny is that how she says that video was taken in 2011, and then Kenny doesn't start his YouTube channel till almost a year later. I just find it surprising that well, I know why that she's referencing that date because of the number 48, but in reality, I think Kenny would have already had a YouTube channel way before 2002 if she was making videos of him like this, playing with a rattlesnake. You see how it says it's rattlesnake catching time? You know, I think rattlesnake has, well, you got to see this. Oh, that's right. Rattlesnake 36. Okay. So this was my big revelation about, oh yeah. You know, Sharon Pilgrim always talks about how they go out for hiking for 9 hours. 9 hours equals 48, just like Saturn ritual, just like New Mexico. But, you know, no, I'm going to get into, I'll get into the revelation that I had. So pi, you know, living proof that infinity exists, whether it exists, you know, in number format or what have you, but, you know, Saturn, the ring symbolism, think about Lord of the Rings. But the circle is such an important symbol. And, you know, I honestly feel like it's kind of an overlooked symbol. I mean, it's within the gematria community. I mean, there is talk of it, but I just think it's like way more important than, you know, it's in everything. So the circle, and what I figured out, what I think I figured out, and maybe I'm not the only one, but the meaning behind the number 666, which is talked about in the Bible. And Satan in the Bible is nothing but Saturn. And in the Jewish faith, they celebrate the Sabbath on Saturday. And there's a very special relationship between the Jews and Saturn. And I've talked about it in my previous M Cave Ultra video. But, you know, just go and research Saturn symbolism. And it's all over the fucking place. So, but 3-6, there's 360 degrees in a circle, right? And when you add 1 through 36, you get 666. So it's the 36 triangular number. So I think this is why, you know, why the number 666 is so important. And why, because I've always been trying to figure out why it's always associated with evil. If it's just a number, why is it always associated with evil? It's because Saturn is the evil deity, where, you know, I think it's safe to say, well, I'm asking the question now on this channel. Is that where all evil comes from? Is from that evil deity? But, you know, 360 degrees in a circle, which is nothing, you know, because in this practice, the zeros have no power. So all that does is really represent the number 36. And I'm going to show you how that ties in with this riddle. But, you know, I've been talking about how Saturnian equals 36. And, we just saw the big Saturn ritual at the Congregation of Beth Israel, which happened on the date that could be written 15/1, which is a lot like 151. And that's the 36 prime number. So Saturnian equals 36. There's 360 degrees in a circle or a ring, whatever you want to call it. But I'm going to show you his girlfriend, how she's always talking about. She's not always talking about it, but I've seen her reference it now 3 times. Hold on. I don't have premium on this. I'm going to let the ad play. Then I'll go back. But in this video, I want to show you how she says that her and Kenny would go out hiking for 9 hours. And I think I know why. And it's because of this. I already showed you when you write out 9 as a word in hours, it equals 48. But, all right, here we go. You're going to watch this, whoever she is, Sharon Pilgrim, the supposed girlfriend of Kenny Veach. She's going to talk about how they would go out hiking for 9 hours.
Wild hiking, kind of like wild camping. It's not a campground. It wasn't a hiking trail. We just trailblazed through the desert. And sometimes we would spend 9 hours together in the desert. But usually
You hear that? Usually we would spend 9 hours out there in the desert. And, I've done a lot of backpacking and hiking in my day, and no one talks that way. You're not really keeping time. And if you're going out hiking in the desert, you're hiking longer than 9 hours. Okay? And people don't talk that way. But, I got to find them, but she talks about them going out hiking in 2 comments. One of them, she says, we would go out hiking 8 to 9 hours. And then the other one, she says, just references the number 9. But look at how 9 hours, when you just add the value of 9 and don't assign a letter to it, forwards and backwards in the numerology ciphers, 36. And then, monarch, which was the symbol for the MK Ultra project, and which is the M, which represents the M in the MK Ultra, or mind, monarch. Think about M cave, the monarch cave, the mind cave, the mind control cave. But monarch, what are the odds that, monarch also equals, and you know what? I've been doing this, for quite some time. And I'm telling you right now, it is rare. I have seen very few words that are 36 forwards and backwards. Honestly, I've used the gematria calculator even before I had a YouTube channel, for years, just having fun with it. And it is rare. I have not seen that. But to that practice, that would be very, very special. Very, very special to have that, that perfect symmetry between those two. And, outside the, CERN headquarters is Shiva the Destroyer, which is surrounded by a circle. And in the CERN logo, and a lot of people say that, this is code for 666, which would make what I'm talking about even that more significant, because their symbol is 2 circles overlapping each other. And A circle is just nothing but pi. And here outside their headquarters, they got a circle. And the theory is it all stems down to one evil source of energy. And that is the seventh planet, Saturn. That's why in the Jewish faith, they say, remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. Because, there's good speculation that, I'll show you just how, in case you don't come to this blog, granted, you're still with me to the end. Not a whole lot of people can stick with me to the end, but look, the black cube of, I forget what it's called. There's a name for this, but it's just the black cube of Saturn, which is all over the place. From 9/11 to 2001, A Space Odyssey, had the black monolith. But yeah, I'll leave it on, is 666 nothing but code for circles? And circles, are they one of the most important symbols to the occult? Because, it's symbolic of the rings of Saturn or the circles of Saturn. And does it all stem from a single source? And remember, the number 1 in numerology represents power. So think about that. So, shout out to the homie. He's probably smoking weed. But shout out to you, man. We'll talk soon. And hopefully I didn't make this video too long, but I might, because I go over a lot of stuff if you watch the previous video. But I might send you some timestamps because I go back all over I don't want to sound too redundant with the 47 because there's a lot of 47 in this. But, it's an important number to the cult of Saturn, as are all numbers. All numbers are important. All right, peace.